Advanced DOM manipulation, guys, and creating and removing element. This is the topic of advanced. So, welcome to JavaScript, guys, in advanced. So, advanced DOM manipulation involves dynamically creating and removing HTML element using JavaScript. This can be useful for building dynamic user interface or responding to user interaction. I will provide explanation along with the syntax and example for creating and removing element. So, creating element syntax: const new element is equal to document dot create element type, new element dot set attribute name, attribute value, new element dot inner HTML is equal to some HTML content, new element dot text content is equal to text content, parent element dot append child new element. Now step explanation, right? Creating a new element: const new element is equal to document dot create element type, document dot create element type. This create a new HTML element. Replace element type with the type of element you wanted to create, such as div, p, paragraph, span, etc. This line initialize a new element object which is currently detached from the DOM. Set attribute optionality: new element dot set attribute name, comma attribute value, set attribute name, comma attribute value. This must set an attribute on the newly created element. Replace attribute name with the name of the attribute and attribute value with the desired value. This line is optional and can be omitted of number of attributes need to be set. Set inner HTML or text content optionally. New element dot inner HTML equal to some HTML content. New element dot text content equal to text content. Inner HTML. This property set or return the inner HTML content inside the element, including any HTML tag. It is often used when you wanted to insert HTML content. Text content. This property set or return the text content of the element, stripping out of any HTML tag. It is useful for setting plain text content. Append the new element to an existing element. Parent element dot append child new element. Parent element. This should be an existing DOM element to which you wanted to append the newly created element. You need to replace parent element with the reference to actual parent element in the DOM. Append child new element. This method append the newly created element as a child of the specified parent element. After this line is executed, the newly element become part of the DOM hierarchy will be displayed in the render HTML. Example: const new paragraph equal to document dot create element paragraph, new paragraph dot set attribute class my paragraph, new paragraph dot text content is equal to this is a dynamically created paragraph, document dot body dot append child new paragraph. In this example, we create a new paragraph element, set a class attribute, set its text content, and then append it to the body of the document. Let's break down the provided code step by step. Const new paragraph is equal to document dot create element paragraph. Document dot create element paragraph. This line create a new HTML paragraph element paragraph. The create element method is a DOM method that allow you to dynamically generate HTML element. The newly created element is stored in the variable new paragraph. New paragraph dot set attribute class my paragraph set attributes class my paragraph. This line set an attribute on the newly created paragraph element. In this case, it set the class attribute to my paragraph. The set attribute method is commonly used to add or modify attributes on an HTML element. The class attribute can be used for styling or selecting the element with the CSS. New paragraph dot text content is equal to this is a dynamically created paragraph. Text content is equal to this is a dynamically created paragraph. This line set the text content of the paragraph. The text content property represents the text content of an element and can be used to set or retrieve the text. In this case, the text content is set to provided string. Document dot body dot append child new paragraph. Document dot body dot append child new paragraph. This line append the newly created paragraph element as a child of the body element in the HTML document. The append child method is a common way to add new element to the DOM. After this line is execute, the dynamically created paragraph become part of the HTML document and will be rendered when the page is displayed. Overall explanation: the entire code snippet is a sequence of action to dynamically create an HTML paragraph element, set its class attribute and text content, and then append it to the body of the document. This dynamic creation and manipulation of elements are commonly used in the web development to respond to user interaction or to dynamically generate content. Removing element. Recent text const element to remove is equal to document.get element by id element id. Element to remove dot parent node dot remove child element to remove. Right, the provide code demonstrate how to find an HTML element by its ID and then remove it from the document object model using JavaScript. So const element to remove is equal to document.get element by ID element ID. Document.get element by ID element ID. This line uses the get element method which is a DOM method to find and retrieve a reference to an HTML element with the specified ID, replacing element ID with actual ID of the element. You wanted to remove the retrieved element is stored in the variable element to remove. Element to remove dot parent node dot remove child element to remove. Element to remove dot parent node dot remove child element to remove. This line remove the element from the DOM. Let's break it down. Element to remove. This is a reference to the HTML element that you wanted to remove. Parent node. This property return the parent node of the specified node. In this case, it returns the parent node of element to remove. Remove child element to remove. This method remove a child node from the DOM. In this case, it remove element to remove from its parent node. Overall explanation. This code is essentially in two-step process. Finding the element to remove. Const element to remove is equal to document dot get element by id element id. This line retrieve a reference to an HTML element with a specified id element id. Removing an element to remove dot parent node dot remove child element to remove. This line remove the element from its parent node. It uses the parent node property to access the parent node of the element and then the remove child method to remove the element from its parent. After this code is executed, the specified element is no longer part of the DOM. It's a good practice to check if the element exists before attempting to remove it. As shown in the previous example, this helps avoid error when trying to remove an element that does not exist in the document, guys, right? Example, const paragraph to remove is equal to document dot get element by id my paragraph. If paragraph to remove dot parent node dot remove child paragraph to remove. JavaScript where you wanted to remove an HTML element from the DOM document object model, but you first check if the element exists before attempting to remove it. This helps prevent error in the case where the element might not present in the document. Constant paragraph to remove is equal to document.get element by id paragraph. Document.get element by id my paragraph. This line attempt to retrieve a reference to an HTML element with the id my paragraph. If such an element exists in the document, the reference is stored in the variable paragraph to remove. If the element is not found, paragraph to remove will be null. If paragraph to remove dot parent node dot remove child paragraph to remove. If paragraph to remove, this is an if statement that check whether paragraph to remove is truthy. In JavaScript, null considered falsy. So if the element is not found, paragraph to remove is null. The code inside the if block will be skipped inside the if block. Paragraph to remove dot parent node. This expression retrieve the parent node of the paragraph to remove element. Remove child paragraph to remove. This method remove the paragraph to remove element from its parent node. This operation is performed only if the element exists if the if condition is true. Example, overall explanation, finding the element. Const paragraph to remove is equal to document.get element by id my paragraph. This line attempt to find an HTML element with the id my paragraph and store the reference in the variable paragraph to remove. Checking if the element exists. Right, if paragraph to remove, the if statement check whether paragraph to remove is truthy, meaning the element was found. If it's truthy, the code inside the if block is executed, removing the element if it exists. Paragraph to remove dot parent node dot remove child paragraph to remove. If the element exists, it is removed from the DOM. The parent node property is used to access the parent node, and remove child is used to remove the element from its parent. This ensures that the removal operation is safe and will not result in an error. If the element is not present. In this example, we find an element by its ID using getElementById and then remove it from the DOM using remove child. It's good practice to check if the element exists before attempting to remove it. This example covers the basic of creating and removing element. Dynamic manipulation of the DOM is powerful feature in web development, allowing you to update the UI based on the user action or data chain. So this is all about, guys, advanced DOM manipulation, creating and removing element in JavaScript advanced topic.